What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the WARFRAME video. Well, I put out an Eximus rework video yesterday when we only had 2 sentences of information about it, and lo and behold, DE releases a full workshop on the Eximus rework within 24 hours of me putting that video out. So that video is still relevant, but we have more information now, and let's just start off with GLOOM Nerf confirmed, ENSNARE Nerf confirmed. Everything Nerf confirmed! We're going to go over the full dev workshop on the Eximus rework today, and we'll also talk about meta applications, because after the video yesterday, we streamed for about 9 hours, and there was lots of discussion about, what will be good, will this be good, will that be good, will this work, blah, blah, blah. So let's get into it. Make sure you're subbed to all that stuff. We are back in business streaming, guys, so make sure you check out the live stream channel if you're interested as well, okay? We talk about a lot of the stuff that we talk about in the videos there, too. So here's their official full dev workshop in-depth on the Eximus Reborn. Let's just say that I have a feeling they're going to revert this stuff, because even the innocent little infested Eximus is going to take multi-thousand damage to break their new overshield. As you saw, that was a Quellar alt-fire shot on an unarmored Eximus. So that's what we're starting with right now. These guys are about to be really tanky. But let's get into it here. I'll be reading it pretty much verbatim. The main objective of the Eximus rework is to make them stand out more in battle, being enemy leaders, both in how they function and how they are formidable against when they face against us. We aim to achieve this in 2 ways. Amplify their threat with increased time to kill. So they definitely want you to have a time to kill on these guys. It's not like the rest of the game where it's like, there literally is no time to kill because Brahma shot everything dead. Instant time to kill. These guys are going to require 2 shots pretty much all the time, it seems like. At decent levels. To amplify this threat, we've given them Overguard. So it was called Overhealth in their previous 2 sentences we had. It's called Overguard. That's the official name. And let me just say right now, as a long-term player of the game, I'm getting really sick of all these new terms and name changes for this stuff. But whatever. So the new thing's called Overguard. It is health, shield, and armor scaling. It wasn't, okay, the fact that they put armor in here as well, that was not in the previous 2 sentences they gave us on this. So armor is now taken into account with Overguard, which is hilarious. Currently, the different Eximus types have a slightly different resistance and combat advantage. For example, Arson Eximus will reduce fire damage taken. Leech Eximus will add puncture damage to its damage dealt. And these stat changes are invisible to a player and don't really have any noticeable impact on gameplay. Instead of keeping unique but forgettable specific resistance to Eximus units, we've added a new universal type of Eximus resistance and tweaking the way their health, armor, and shield scale across the board to turn them into more formidable adversaries. So, as we talked about in the video yesterday, they're going to have this new I guess it's called Overguard now, where as you can see there's this Broodmother Eximus it looks like right there. That gray health bar, she's already shot it a good amount with whatever gun this is. You need to break that overshield before you can use crowd control abilities. And it's also going to just be additional health. It's going to scale with what level they're at, how much health and armor they actually have, their shields too. So I don't know what this build is, but that's a level 80 infested right there. Taking however many shots that took to break just a portion of the overshield. So they about to be tanky. People complaining, I was complaining too, the game's too easy. They about to be tanky, so don't you worry about that. Riven's potentially being pushed more than ever as we need gigantic damage. Damage buffing pushed more than ever. Glass, because you won't be able to so you can ensnare it after you break the overshield. But before that, is that Void Strike she just used? Yeah, she just used Void Strike. That's hilarious. It's going to be a new meta. It's going to definitely be a new meta. So where were we at? So basically just making it so everything is having more health and more tanky. As seen, they will have the Overguard, making it where they are not able to be affected by abilities that will cause any crowd control, such as Stagger, Knockdown, Stun, Mind Control, Ragdoll, and Blind. Also, guys, Slow is included in this. They have clarified that Slow is included. There's a list of specific abilities they decided to make sure it worked on, or doesn't work on, rather. So now also radiation status effects. So if you are using a Kuva Nukort to rad proc enemies, make them shoot each other and not you, that's not going to work. The Eximus is going to be shooting at you the whole time. So that's another layer of these guys are actually here to do some business. And they're only going to take 4 cold status effects at a time, just so they won't be slowed down too much. Here's new information right here. However, Overguard is particularly weak against void damage. Zata's Whisper potential meta, just saying. which will overall improve the flow and synergy between Warframe and Operator combat. Yeah, you technically could use the Operator amp too, since they're buffing that a good amount with the Operator changes. This will encourage you to engage them with more interactivity as opposed to easily overpowering them with abilities alone. It should shift the focus of fighting Eximus units to a mixture of weapons and teamwork and make Eximus units feel like more true threats in Warframe. Hey guys, we have actual enemies. 9 years in, we have actual enemies. Now, they're not every enemy. The trash ads will still, run into the Strangledome and just insta-die and all that. But Eximus, the Strangledome will not work on them as it is a ragdoll. Like we talked about yesterday in the video, Vauban's Vortex is a ragdoll, so Vauban Giganto Nerf. And that Overguard health amount does scale with their health and shields per level. So if they're level like 10,000, they're going to have like the most Giganto, like Death Star plating Overguard you've ever seen. So this is a level 61, as we showed in the gameplay footage. A couple Queller shots and an Infested. Here's an armored one right here. Because they're going to be visually more distinct as well. You're going to be able to tell when that's an Eximus. So, yeah, level 80, like I said, I don't know what their builds are. It might be a pretty bad build. But that enemy is taking viral status effects while they have the Overguard in effect. Doesn't look like the impact proc is stunning them. But I have a feeling that electric and heat procs might still stun these guys. So keep an eye on that. If you have a viral heat Kuva that could still probably work. We'll have to see, because they did not detail electric procs being a stun that they are immune to here. So if you want to watch their full video, I'll show it. I'll link it down below, but we're pretty much going over the information more in depth here. Once an Eximus has their Overguard taken out, they will be susceptible to crowd control abilities. An important note for Hound companions, just those mastery fodder doggos that no one uses, the null audit functionality, I believe, steals an Eximus ability. It will now copy the Eximus aura as opposed to stealing it. So it will not... Okay, so I thought they were about to buff the Hound. They're actually nerfing the Hound, it seems like. It will not steal the Eximus ability. It will copy it. And if the Eximus has its Overguard struck by a Hound wielding a copied Eximus ability, they will strip the Eximus Overguard by 50%. That is not the kind of changes the Hounds needed, to be honest. Hounds need survivability changes. Along with like 95% of all companions, they need survivability changes. Nerfing them while also making them good against Eximus is hilarious. But yeah, if you have a Hound with that ability, null audit, it will technically be able to break Eximus overshield faster than it not having that. Overguard was introduced as a means to make Eximus units feel more formidable, while also providing Tenno a way to crush their defenses with some solid teamwork and concentrated firepower. Okay, here's the confirmed GLOOM nerf for you guys, okay? We talked about the video yesterday, like I said, lots of abilities like Limbo, potentially getting put in the dirt. So let's go over their list of things. And remember, this is not an all-inclusive list, okay? Just because you're like, hey, they didn't include Proteus 4. Remember Proteus 4 at CC something, I'm pretty sure. Just because it's not on here doesn't mean it's not going to be nerfed. And that is detailed right here. This list is not exhausted to all Warframe abilities that Overguard's resistant to. So just remember that, okay? Let's start off with number 1. They put Sevagoth GLOOM at the top of the list for a reason. Sevagoth GLOOM is no longer going to work and slow these Eximus units while they have their Overguard in effect. It will work on all the trash ads, and I'm sure the Lifesteal from GLOOM will still work on the Eximus, but you will no longer be slowing Eximus with GLOOM until you apparently put a bunch of damage into them, as we saw from that gameplay footage. On that pretty low level Broodmother, took like however many Tombfinger shots or whatever she had equipped. So GLOOM nerfed. Still probably the best helmet in the game, or one of the best helmets in the game. It's still going to be meta, guys. It's not as good against Eximus anymore. Chroma's Effigy Sentry, I think it's the 4th ability. That will, you like put down the Chroma Dragon Turret thing and it stuns enemies areas. That will not work. Zaku's Gaze, which I believe is, well, there's actually quite a few instances of Zaku's Gaze. So that's the armor strip ability. I think it has like a laser that like lifts enemies in the air, and then it's like mind control. That's not going to work. That actually works on a lot of things that probably shouldn't work on, to be honest, like Necromex, but yeah, that will definitely not work on them. Garuda's Seeking Talons. That's Garuda's 4th ability, like the slash launcher. They get stunned by slash and all that. That's not going to stun them anymore. So big Garuda nerf. But then again, with Garuda's new passive, you should be killing everything so fast anyway that it shouldn't be a big deal. Mirage Sleight of Hand. That's a 2nd ability that people use to nuke sometimes. It also stuns. That will not work. Mirage's Prism, her 4th ability, which blinds and stuns and deals some damage. That will not work. I'd say you could pretty much just guarantee everything won't work, because that's how they're designing this. Everything's not supposed to work. But just to keep going on, Korra's Ensnare, you might be like, hey, Korra's Strangledome's not in here. Guys, Korra's Strangledome does ragdolls, and they already detailed above how ragdolls will not work. So You just need to like put 2 and 2 together to understand what else is not going to work here. Volt's Discharge, I think that's Volt's 4th ability, like the electric AoE craziness, so that potentially won't work. Baruch's Lull, the sleeping attack, does not work. Herald's Condemn doesn't work, that's too bad. My Condemned Saren build is definitely getting nerfed against Eximus specifically, but, you know, everything's getting nerfed against Eximus specifically. Radio Blind from Excal, Ivara Sleep Arrow, Revenant Reeve, that's CC. That's actually percent health damage, so it makes sense that they would nerf that, I guess. Because they want them to be tanky, actually. Revenant's Mesmer Skin. Revenant nerf definitely confirmed here. Anaro's Pocket Sand is not going to work. Ureli's Trash Bubbles are not going to work either. And like I said, the detailed right here. Just because it doesn't say it's not on here doesn't mean it's not going to. It just doesn't mean it's going to work. Okay. And if it does work, expect it to work for like a day or two before they nerf that as well. So this is pretty crazy. I'm not going to lie. A lot of people that play this game kind of just play it as like the mindless turn off your brain game in the background. If you see an Eximus unit and your teammate doesn't kill it before you kill it, you're going to have to actually use your brain for a couple seconds. So that's unfortunate for people that play the game like that. But for people that have always wanted to be challenging and, you know, removing self-damage, adding shield gating, all these things that make it, you know, not babied, but like a little bit easier maybe. A little bit less difficult to fail if you got self-damage removed, shield gating lets you tank 1,000,000 damage in one shot. Those kinds of people that actually like don't want the game to be challenging, that's too bad for them. They might actually quit, Vauban players specifically. But at the same time, DE probably, let's be real, DE probably wants to nerf how easy we can farm stuff. I mean, arbitration meta, will that change? Probably not. We're buffing so much. Big damage, like launches, like having a Chroma buff, a Rhino buff, Saren Venom Dose and all that. You'll be dealing so much damage to these Eximus, you'll probably still insta-kill them. So I don't think that will change too much. They're also additionally, I'm not going to go over this too much, but they're increasing the rewards from these Eximus units, like as far as credits and endo are concerned. Also XP. They're going to be giving, I think, 200% XP per kill. They'll also be giving more credits and endo, which will, of course, scale on the steel path, because I believe there's an endo drop increase on the steel path, too. So, yeah, it's going to be different. It's definitely going to be different. Remember, this is also coming alongside the operator changes with the full focus rework. So, if you are like, hey, Warframe feels stale, this might be the time to come back, because this looks, I mean, they're getting a visual overhaul, too. So, game will be harder. Game will have we'll have a full focus rework, which is we already have videos on the channel too, and there's 3 new game modes, a new tile set, all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I personally feel like Gloom. This is my personal opinion. I feel like Helminth Gloom should have been nerfed a while ago, because you know why? Everyone knew what Gloom was. No one knew who Sevagoth was. Now this is actually not the best solution, because Gloom in general is being nerfed, so it's not making Sevagoth special, it's making just Gloom in general worse. But it was an AoE 95% slow if you built for it, with crazy lifesteal and even more things along the lines of that. So it was crazy. Ensnare is actually interesting too. I wonder if they're going to add this stuff to Acolytes, because Acolytes can be ensnared and stunned like right the second they spawn, and makes them like just not even able to fight back. It makes Korra hilarious on the Steel Path. And she already is hilarious in the Steel Path. So I'm wondering if they're going to like make this stuff apply to Acolytes too. That would change some things. Let's just finish off their dev post. We already went over the important stuff, to be honest. But currently, an Ancient Healer provides a 90% damage reduction to their allies in range and increased resistance to crowd control abilities. Visually, this is only indicated by a pulsing glow on buffed enemies in range. This is often confusing if you don't already know what the crowd control resistance and damage reduction is being applied from Ancient Healers. We have changed Ancient Healers to provide allies in range with Overguard. Oh no! And it is applied 9 times of their overall health. What? I thought we got over all the important stuff. Ancient Healers become Eximus. Oh, the value simply matches the current level of damage reduction and crowd control resistance provided by Ancient Healers, but the Overguard will now provide a visual indicator that the rest are being boosted by their Ancient ally. Wait, so it makes everything in the area an Eximus. Okay, maybe that's just a visual change, but that makes it seem like they're like even crazier. Overguard can now be taken out on enemies vulnerable by Ancient Healers through a few different ways. Dealing damage to an Overguard, killing the Ancient, providing the Overguard, and drawing them out of range of the Ancient Healer. I'm not sure if I'm reading this right, but it makes it sound like they're making the ancient healers like even more annoying. Yeah. Unlike ancient healer Eximus, non-Eximus ancient healers provide overguard to allies in range, but do not have it themselves. Okay, so this is literally a steel Eximus. That my idea, like, hey, make a new Eximus that's like anti-AoE. This is an anti-AoE right here. This might be a slight nerf to the Wukong AFK Steel Essence video I made a couple months ago. So keep that in mind. Still, here's the thing as well. And the reason these changes are potentially like just pathetic and worthless. This is pushing Kuva Zar, Kuva Brahma, Ogress meta even harder. Why would I ever use a Cerberus Prime when there's someone like this, an ancient healer Eximus, making everything an Eximus around him, and like as we saw in their gameplay footage, you need to fire so many shots into this thing to break it. Why would I not just use a Kuva Zar, like Riven modded, 60% toxin roll all the way to just blow away every enemy? Why would I ever use a single target weapon? That's another problem that we're going to have to address eventually in the future, DE. But I don't envy you on that one. Okay, now I understand why she's not breaking the shield. She has a blast build in her Ignis Wraith. Okay, you know what? Don't take this as them being overly tanky. This is DE's builds we're dealing with here. Weapon builds for that matter, and we have a blast build on the Ignis Wraith in 2022, okay? I might have overreacted there a little bit, but let's just keep on reading. We'll finish this out, okay? Health, shield, and armor scaling. Health, shield, and armor for Eximus now all scale faster at higher levels up to a point where it eventually flattens out and doesn't scale exponentially, giving them a boost to their overall tankiness. Our intent here is to give a slight boost to enemies like butchers more than heavy gunners, and to make difficulty more consistent across enemy types. A heavy gunner will still be tougher than a butcher might be, but the gap between the two will be much closer than it was affected by a traditional flat multiplier across the board. This should make difficulty of any given Eximus more consistent, regardless of enemy types. Note these changes are only for Eximus units. Their regular counterparts will attain the same scaling tech. So, just Eximus are like the bane of the 10-0 now. You remember like back in the day when Railjack was actually hard and cruise ships felt like they were actually like an enemy you had to like respect to some degree? That's what they're trying to make Eximus here. My personal opinion is a lot of this stuff will be toned down, nerfed down, made easier within like a day or two. Maybe before the update even comes out, because I'm looking at this as someone with God Roll Brahma Rivens, God Roll Rivens and all this stuff, maxed out roar, all like crazy damage. More damage than I'll ever need. And I'm like, wow, they're going to make that for everybody? Like, this looks like that should just be like on the steel path or something. But then again, the game is pretty easy. Do you want some new player just to get completely dumpstered by an Eximus on like Earth, and they're gonna go buy some plat? That's probably what DE wants. They want the new player to feel like they're frustrated and like, block progression wise because they can't kill this Eximus. There's literally a junction requirement on like Mars, I think it is, where it says kill 5 Eximus. I don't want to see, actually I do want to kind of see an MR0 trying to kill an Eximus with a Lado that has like crazy DR and all this stuff. So we'll have to see how that goes for the new player experience. But yeah, this is a major change of a lot more information compared to yesterday. And I would just say go ahead and assume every CC ability doesn't work, okay? Arcwing Eximus, Arcwing Eximus. You actually put a section for Arcwing Eximus. That's hilarious. You can now do mercy kills on some of the Eximus you couldn't do before, so that's good. This is just showing what the Blitz abilities, all these new Eximus will be. So the new Blitz Eximus, the electric one, will summon a frontal cone blast attack by slamming down their fist on the ground, applying a knockdown and blast status effect. The blast status effect signaled by an audio cue. So it's just easier to see when these guys are going to be like doing their special attacks, pretty much. Blitz actually might be a blast Eximus, now that I think about it. Energy Leech Eximus. This is the good change right here. Instead of an invisible aura that drains energy over time like it currently is, they're going to fire out these like energy draining pools that if you're in them, they'll detonate and drain your energy, but if you're not in them, they won't do anything. So that's good. Arson Eximus, fire blast everywhere. Guardian Eximus will give more shields. They have 3 rotating blue shields that we just showed in that Corpus Tech gameplay clip right there. You have to shoot through the shields to break this. So this is interesting. This will definitely be visually like distinct when these guys spawn. Ice Bubble Eximus has not changed. Leech Eximus now can spawn health leech zones, which take away your health shortly after respawning. Okay, so Leech Eximus now will be a vampire draining Eximus. Interesting. And then the Shock new electric bio Eximus is going to spawn 3 electrical orbs that hover in place for a few seconds, dealing increased electrical damage around. Okay, so this one, if you get close to this one, it's going to shock you a bunch. Okay, so these are definitely, like, guys, the game is definitely changing a lot here. So you thought Vauban Vortex are the least of your worries. Now if you get anywhere near this guy, you're shocked. You're shocked to death. It will probably scale with enemy level damage-wise too. So 2 shocks and you're dead. Wow, this is. I wish this dev workshop was out yesterday when I made that video. But yeah, looking pretty good. Now, like I said, they're going to be technically giving you air quotes more rewards when you kill these guys. So you'll be getting increased affinity from killing them by 200%. Also, increased credits in endo. So, and then of course the Steel Path Eximus can drop a Riven Sliver. The Eximus Stronghold Sortie will have less Eximus in it because of this change, and Syndicate Assassin Squads are going to be reduced in the amount of Eximus that spawn. So overall, it's things I was asking for. I thought that the game was too easy, as it definitely is. Enemies don't matter, Eximus don't matter, Eximus will matter after this. And the funny thing is, for endurance runs, this will make endurance actually potentially difficult again. And one of the reasons I don't like doing endurance runs anymore is they made it too easy. Shield getting too easy. We have these crazy like viral procs nowadays, Epitaph, all this stuff. Disruption makes it too easy to get to max level. This will make it harder. I'm sure Joe Schmo, like the poser, can still get to level 10,000. But it will be harder for him, and he will have to struggle more, and I have to laugh some more while they are struggling. So, yeah, this will be interesting. I'll be doing some level 10,000 missions after this update comes out. Here's the funny thing, too, is that this is just going to make not even a new meta. It's just going to reinforce a meta of invisibility. For high-level missions, invisibility will be even more king than it was yesterday. It will make frame choices like Banshee feel worse. If you don't instantly kill that Eximus Overshield, yeah, Banshee dead. If you don't instantly kill that Eximus Overshield instead of Heavy Gunner, Revenant instantly dead. So it will be interesting. It will be very interesting. They're making it so Void damage is really good against Overhealth as well. So I think Zata's Whisper will be a much more popular Helminth option. Not to mention, they're trying to make it where Void Operator Amp damage is good against it too. So yeah, really, really interesting. Kind of cool, kind of not cool at the same time. Let me know how you guys feel about this in the comments down below. The video from yesterday is still relevant as we do go into theory crafting on who's getting nerfed the most. But yeah, this is the in-depth overview and, just going over what they have changed. So I hope you appreciate it. Rip people that put GLOOM on there. Guys, GLOOM will still be, like I said, GLOOM will work on all the trash ads. It won't work on, like, the 1 or 2 Eximus that spawn in your, like, Exterminate mission, okay? Don't worry about GLOOM. It's just against Eximus is getting nerfed. And you know what's also funny? Every Eximus in the game is stronger than the Sergeant boss fight on Phobos now. Like, literally. The Sergeant on Phobos takes 1 bullet. Most Eximus will take more than 1 bullet from now on. So that's hilarious. That guy definitely should get removed or reworked. Either way, guys, I'll see you next time. Thanks for the support. And yeah, live streams are back in business. We'll be doing some more videos coming out. Videos every day on Angels of Zeramon. And you guys take it easy. Peace!